Good morning. Here we are again in our Congress. Welcome everyone here. I hope that this Congress has been really helpful for you, and today it has a very good success ending. So for today, we're going to start as always, reminding what Merum is, what is our mission, vision. So our new attendings are going to learn about us and understand why we do what we do. So our REDBIME, it's a network of teachers and researchers in a foreign language, EFL, that is English as a foreign language, and ESL, English as a second language. Okay, our mission is to promote interdisciplinary exchange around teaching and researching and social protection. Our vision is to be the leading bilingual network in the cooperation and articulation of projects in teaching and research and social projects. And now, what is our the our active members in this network? We have a lot of universities here and institutions that are working together to get what we want. Uh, UCC, Unimeta, UNIMINUTO, ENSA, MAFRA, SQ, ETICTIC, UNAD, that is the university where I work for, UNAD, and USTA. We have our leaders here, the names of our leaders, and Ucompensar also is here with us. So this, as you can see in our presentation, we have the names of our leaders, the person who lead everything, and the people who work together to get where the teachers need. So, okay, what is the objective and what our EFL Pedagogical and Didactic Training Congress is? So our EFL Pedagogical and Didactic Training Congress has been an annual event in our network, supported by our directors and all the people that work together in our department or our region that is Meta. You know that. This Congress is meant to be to help teachers to get new strategies in teaching every year. So this year, our subject is EICTS for teaching because you know this year has been or these 2 years has been really difficult to us because we have to know different strategies to teach by online and different kind of new um, tools to get our students get involved in our classes. So let's continue, please. So for today, what is the program? From 9 a.m. to 9:40, we have the PhD Heriberto González Valencia. This He is going to give us a presentation about innovation in English improvement processes in university professors integrating virtual platforms and technological tools. He is from Institución Universitaria, Escuela Nacional del Deporte. From 9:40 to 9:30, we have our MA Magda Alejandra Carbonell and MA Angela Gomez, a pedagogical design in distant education to improve language skills in our course of General English at Santo Tomás University. They are, of course, from Universidad Santo Tomás. From 9:30 to 9:45, we have a breaking group led by Justin Marwong. He is from Fundación Universitaria Ucompensar. After that, 9:45 to 11:25, we have our night workshop that is William Fernando Fernandez David, MA, and Natalia Polonia Rayo with the virtual learning scenarios as a strategy to English for specific purposes in upper education. They are, of course, from University Sur Colombiana. At about 11:25, we have our closing ceremony. Okay, so welcome everyone to our Congress. We hope you enjoy everything and of course learn a lot about what our presentation are going to be. So first of all, I am going to present our first person that is the PhDC Heriberto González Valencia. He is from Cali. The university that he works for is Institución Universitaria Escuela Nacional del Deporte. And I am going to present this person that of course he is going to teach us a lot about what he knows and he is going to share with us all his knowledge. Heriberto González Valencia is currently pursuing a doctoral degree in investigation in Humanidades, Artes, and Education from Universidad Castilla-La Mancha in Spain. He holds a master's degree in education from University of Colombia in Medellin, Colombia. He is an active member of the research group Educar 2030 from Institución Universitaria Escuela Nacional del Deporte. So welcome. His conference is title is Innovation in English Improving Progress in University Professors Integrating Virtual Platforms and Technological Tools. Many of us have, and I talk to myself, we have had some problems with these technological tools. So it's very helpful to us to get to know everything about this, and he is going to teach us how to do it. So welcome, Profe Heriberto González, and this presentation is all yours.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I'm really glad to be here in this event. I hope you can get some good information from this presentation. As Arlene Diana said, we have different times. We have been working for quite a while now in virtual things, but we still need to work in some things. This research project that I have is included in my final thesis paper from the doctorate, and it is about innovating processes. The name innovation in English improvement processes in university professors, integrating virtual platforms and technological tools. So first, I want to read this, and it says, the integration of technology in education. Excuse me, let me move this. Integrating the integration of technology in education and the new learning paths motivating learning. Sorry, I'm having some difficulties here.
Don't worry, take your time.
Sorry. Tradition has a great, thank you. Tradition has a great value in all settings, including education. But traditional teaching should not be limited to face-to-face interaction with participants. I want to show you a picture. I think this is from Meta. I want to show you a picture, and almost automatically people from everywhere recognize this as a school. If I show you this picture, people automatically recognize this as a church. One of the biggest difficulties we have right now is that many people see this picture and they don't recognize it as education. I know many people work with different virtual platforms, Moodle, Blackboard, Shamilo, many of them, but students don't really think about these virtual platforms as education. They originally were created for different things, but right now they are big, really big part of education. So this is one of the things we need to recognize tradition as part of what we're doing now, because it is a complement. It is a complement to get better. Okay, the general objective in this work was to propose an online training through virtual platforms of university professors. I am concentrating in university professors, not only English professors or language professors, but professors in general, because we need the Colombian professors to have a better English level. So Colombian contents as a method of improvement level of English as foreign language according to the Common European Framework of Reference and the standards by the Colombian Ministry of Education. We have to keep in mind those things because we need to work in this context that we have in Colombia. These are the research questions that I worked with. Is there a training policy for university professors aimed at integrating virtual learning platforms in their teaching work? Is there a policy in general for these professors? What is the state of art and existing knowledge about online training through virtual learning platforms? That's the second question, and it's really important because we talk about virtual learning, but we need to know what kind of research has been done to improve our processes. Question number 3, does the use of virtual learning platforms represent a significant use in the acquisition of knowledge in the teaching and learning processes? Something that I must say is that this research began way back before the situation of pandemic that we have in this moment. Question number 4, in the educational environment, does the integration of virtual learning platforms increase the autonomy and empowerment of the students? Can these virtual platforms help students to be more autonomous? Question number 5, are there changes in Colombia university institutions in relation to language learning in the objectives, contents, and teaching methods? Are universities in Colombia promoting this for their professors to learn to improve their English level? Does the implementation of an instructive design of didactic intervention of online training through virtual learning platforms aimed at Columbia University professors contribute to the process of improvement in their level of English as a foreign language? So these are the 6 questions I concentrated in to increase this knowledge, to help the institutions, the professors, get into the virtual learning processes. For this, I searched about regional, national, and international processes. And here in the region, I read a paper about improving academic processes for students and professors. This is something that we need to think about. We, as professors, as university professors, when we plan classes, we usually plan classes not only for the students, but also for the professors. It is good if you are a teacher, a professor, and you go to the class and you feel well, you feel really good in class, just as the students. If you see the students happy in class, you're going to be happy. So that's about integrating this virtual part. The new economy and global society, that's also part of the research. How this virtual part help, and we have seen it now that we have virtual classes, the economy and the time improves, okay? National, I searched about a paperwork called virtual learning is more common in the private sector. It is also a reality that many private institutions integrate a little bit more the technological part. Adults with difficulties to be in face-to-face classes. It is a reality. It is a reality that we, in general, and professors, university professors, have a lot of difficulties with time. So that's one of the parts I thought in this research, that is how to improve that time with professors and improving their academic process in improving English. And international paperwork, I read about academic flexibility in time and space, similar to what I just said, and didactic and pedagogical innovation. We need, now that we have been working so long in this virtuality, we need to keep it, and we need to continue working with things that help us offer better academic processes. That's the idea. So at the end, it's really dynamic and attractive learning processes for students and professors. Remember, it's not the classes are not only for students. In this case, I'm talking about professors, university professors. So we'll be like professors teaching professors. In the theoretical part, I concentrated in 4 main topics. One of them is technology in education. The other one is technological tools. And the next one is virtual learning platforms. And one that it has to be there is bilingualism. In this case, more concentrated about English as a foreign language. These are some of the authors I used. These are some of the authors I used in the process. And there are some of them that called my attention really, really much. For example, Chavarria, 2017, talks about flexibility in teaching and learning processes. It is a reality that sometimes people think about these virtual learning processes and they think about easy things like, okay, but if I have a quiz or if I have an exam, a placement test online, students are going to do something that it shouldn't be. But actually, if you're a professor, a university professor, and you want to improve your English and you take a placement test, I'm pretty sure no one is going to copy or cheat or do anything because it's your level. You know what's your level. You need to know what's your level, okay? Rodríguez, 2016, talk about autonomy autonomy is provided but not taught. That is a reality. We can help students with autonomous work, but it's difficult to teach them that part. They need to realize they need it. That's one of the things I'm working with. So these are some of the authors. I'm not going to mention all of them, but they really helped in this research. I use a mixed methodology because I use the qualitative method through interviews and analyzing documents. The interviews were with 6 experts in the topic, 3 from Colombia, 3 from Spain. And I also use the quantitative methodology because we got some data. I got some data from an online survey with university professors in Cali's universities. The target population of this research is made up of professors from higher education institutions and the different offers of virtual learning platforms. I analyzed what's the offer of virtual learning platforms in institutions right now in Colombia and internationally. And as I've been mentioned, I concentrated in university professors. Okay, university professors. That's the thing. Please, obviously, if this project shows how to deal with university professors, if one of the researchers in this event think about, okay, I'm going to use this with high school teachers. That's obviously that's really possible. Okay, so how did I gather all the information? Reading documents, tracking the different virtual platforms using Colombian universities, selecting the population, the target population, designing an interview for the experts. I had an invitation for the different experts, 3 national, 3 international. The survey was it wasn't applied by me exactly. It was a company that I worked with, and they applied the survey for the university professors here in Cali. Then organizing and codifying the data and analyzing to get the final results. And here it's I'm presenting results about this data. And the first one was a qualitative phase when I interviewed the professors, 3 professors from Spain, 3 professors for Colombia. All the interviews were done online. All the interviews was done online. I think my presentation. Okay. The quantitative results talk about the survey we did with the university professors. It was an online interview via email with closed questions. The survey, sorry, it was not an interview, it was a survey. The survey lasts about 10 minutes answering. It was here in Cali, Colombia. It was done between these dates that you can see in the presentation. There were 360 university professors. As it is, it's difficult for all professors to answer the questions, but we got 98 professors from different institutions to completely answer the survey, okay? So we have a 95.5 result of data that we can use in the research. Those results shows difference between sex, age, and English level. We asked them about their English level. There were only 5% of professors who answered having a C2, level C2, and 60% C1. That is okay, but most of the professors are from B1 down. And that's the idea with this proposal, that we can take most of the professors to B2. That is one of the Minister of Education goals, that to have university professors with a B2 level of English. Positions in university, we ask them about the position, full professor, full-time professor, assistant. Universities, we have 49% universities in the private sector and 51% in public one. One of the biggest population in answering the survey was in the Escuela Nacional del Deporte, where I work and where I have this resource included in the institution. And these are some of the other universities which answered the survey. And these are the conclusions, all right? So first, I concentrated in the context. And professors interviewed in Spain consider that the infrastructure is sufficient as a technological level, okay, at home and in school. But they mentioned that the methodology and some training things have to be improved. One of the biggest differences that we have that I got from this context is in Spain, the experts mentioned that it is okay, the technology is good at school and at homes. Here in Colombia, the difference is that technology is good in institutions, but when we talk about homes, when we talk about students' homes, it changes. We don't have all that technology individually, okay? Among the main weaknesses is the absence of digital competencies, not only for professors, but also for students. With all this data that we collected, we can see that here in Colombia, we need to improve those digital competencies with the students too. Sometimes people know that the students are really good with technology. Sometimes they are not. Opportunities they identify are related to the high supply and demand of online training. We got that from the survey that many professors really like the idea to have the opportunity to have those English improvements online, because what I mentioned before, time, distances, money, everything, okay? Virtual learning platforms in universities, according to the data, it is perceived as a facilitator for these learning teaching processes. They recognize many possibilities in presential, face-to-face, and virtual classes. That's one of the findings. The most important characteristic of virtual learning platforms in universities focus on functionalities, usability, and the teaching methodology. So those are the three things I am really thinking about the design of this program. It has to be really, really nice to work with. Sometimes, and all these things that we have been working with, there are some classes that is only information. That's all. Information, paperwork. But we can integrate better things in these virtual platforms. For students, the benefits are focused on flexibility and adaptive learning, lifelong learning, collaborative work, greater involvement in the learning act, and access to the content. When we have virtual platforms and we have a really good design, we get things like 24/7 information for that academic process, and that's one of the things we have to work with. Okay. Virtual learning platforms for learning languages. They consider that the learning of a foreign language in a content that is perfectly adapted to virtual teaching about the other subjects. That's one of the things we got from the professors, from university professors, talking about improving their learning, their academic learning process online. They say that English is one of the classes that it can be there about other subjects. So they really recognize that English can be there online without not so many difficulties. The characteristics of the training offered in a foreign language in virtual environments are grouped together in issues such as the accessibility of platforms and apps. They mentioned that they want to have something nice, something that they don't have to click here, no, they go to the virtual platform. Communication through digital tools. Remember, sometimes we still have some educators that they see the telephone as something bad in class, but we can use those telephones to increase our academic goals. And number 3, a strong audiovisual component. All Everyone who was involved in this research mentioned something about the audiovisual part, videos, images. They say that that really helped them in getting ideas, improving and everything, okay? They were asked about what kind of different virtual platforms they know for learning languages, and this was the ones that they mentioned more: ABA, English, BBC Learning English, British Council, and Berlin. Those are the ones that they mentioned more, okay? So what's one of the ideas? We can check those virtual platforms and integrate some of them in our own processes, okay? We continue here with the university context about professors in university. And because of the time, I'm going to go a little bit to the end. But look, Moodle, it's the virtual platform which most universities in Colombia are used. They use Moodle, okay? That's part of the research. Virtual platform learning foreign languages. This is important. By sex, women especially value the ease of access of these platforms. When we talk to the professors, women especially, they talk more about one of the things they really look forward when they get into one of the virtual platforms is the accessibility, that they can get in the virtual platforms without going around so much. Only 40% of university offer online language training. Most of the institutions do not offer those language processes for their own professors. That's one of the ideas with this research. Final conclusions. Colombian government are working to achieve processes goals regarding to improvement of English as a foreign language in the general population. That's something we have in favor of. Governments in Colombia are working to improve everyone's English. So if they work like that, the professors, university professors, are going to have an advantage because they are going to be in two processes, government and the institutional process. Universities want to offer both internal and external training processes to their professors in a mindset of constant improvement. Most universities now in Colombia think about how to improve their professors' English level. That is a reality. Not only professor, I'm talking here about professors, but in general, universities are in the bilingualism process with the students, administrators, and professors. So that's one of the good things about this project. English as a foreign language is perceived almost as necessary within a community of university professors. Also, the use of technology in academic processes, both in the learning of this community and in their teaching processes. When professors get involved in this kind of academic processes, they have two things. One, they are learning about English. They are improving English, one. And two, they are working with virtual things. They are working with videos, they are working with images, they are integrating technology in their own process, and then they can reproduce that in their own classes. I have a science professor, and he's improving his English, and he gets into the virtual platforms, and he sees a video, he sees images, a connection to another website. So first he's improving that English, and then he's improving his own teaching process. So that's good. And finally, the greatest contribution of this research is evidence in an instructional design of a virtual learning platforms based on all the data obtained and analyzed with an innovative and permanent offers in academic process. This is to be offered in this moment in my institution, is to be offered as a permanent improvement of English for professors. that's what we're doing. That's what I'm doing in the institution. Okay, this is a little bit of images about what are we doing in the institution. Offering images, videos. The professors' videos are really important, so the students can read, they can hear the professor without having the professor next to them. Integrating videos, integrating different virtual platforms. Okay, here if you can see, say 40 tools to use in a flipped classroom. Here, for example, you can see exams, midterm exams. This is part of the in the offer for English improvements are not virtual like exams exactly, but placement exams so the professors can increase their level. Okay, and here is a little bit of the bibliography we use, and here is my data. As they mentioned, I work with Educar 2030, that is the resource group. It's group C in Conciencias. And these are my emails in case you want to talk to me, to ask me questions, sorry, there is a mistake, Hotmail, not Hotmail. Okay, in case you want to start a project in your city, in your institutions, and we can work together with all this. Thank you very much.
Okay, so thank you very much, Leandro, for all the presentation or your knowledge. We are really happy to know everything that you have shared with us. And of
Sorry,
course,
it wasn't Leandro, it was Dr. Heriberto Gonzalez.
Heriberto, yes, sorry. Yes, sorry. That was my mistake. Yes, Heriberto, Profe Heriberto, for all your knowledge that you have shared with us. It has been really helpful, as I told you before. And we hope all the people here with us have learned about this. So now we have...
Diana,
Yes.
there is a question in the chat.
Yes,
Can I
yes,
answer?
yes. Yes, of course. I was just about to read it to you. So I have seen the question. So the question is, knowing that training teacher is one of the main issues and that some teachers have problems dealing with technology, what do you think is the best approach to train teacher effectively? This question is from a teacher from Compensar.
Hey, that's great. That's great. Look, it is a reality that we have many difficulties. As I mentioned, it's not only for teachers, for professors, no, with the students. It is, sometimes we don't see it like that, but students have difficulties with educational technology, not much with other technology. About the question, I really think one of the really good ways to help teachers in their training possibilities is integrating them in processes. As I mentioned, for example, if we integrate teachers into improving English level and they see a really good virtual platform or really good technology process with them, they are going to integrate it in their own processes. So I think the best approach in training teachers could be showing them something good. When we have students, we always say we need professors, teachers, we need to show students good behavior, punctuality, this and that. So if we have 10 teachers who need training in technology and we integrating them in a technology process and they can interact, that's the best approach. It's not about, for me, it's not about using this like books, like telling them this approach is the best, because no, integrating them in those processes. I think that's the best approach.
Okay, and I have another question that we say that of course technology is really helpful, or it's something that every student uses right now. Some of them, like the majority, has like access to something by technology, but they don't use it for learning. you know, it's just to have fun, to see social media and everything. How can we as a teacher make them understand that they can use it as social or something entertainment, but also like something that you can learn, and even more English, that we have like many tools in this kind of um uh, I don't know, online and everything.
Yes, it is a reality, and I always tell my students, now that we are working with virtual activities, sometimes I ask my students, please open your camera, open your microphone, and they have difficulties to open a camera. But when I tell them, hey, but when you work in TikTok, when you are doing Instagram, when you're working in Facebook, you don't have any difficulties. So that's something we need to work on. But how do we work on that? Showing students activities and to be creative in these classes or processes that we have. One, if we are teaching students and the professor is really passive in front of them here, there are some teachers, there are some professors that they only teach the class like they don't even move. And if you don't move, the students are not going to move. If you move, if you do this, if you do that, if you open the video, if you close the video, if you show a website, I really think it is like what we do with children. If I show my children's good behavior, maybe they think about that and they do it. So we need to show our students that this technology in education is good and is great. Right now, many students, they don't want to go back to universities. They don't want to go back to school. They are happy at home. And that will be okay if they take that education really serious and they start working just as if they were in the institution. That is the difference. So for that question, I think it's just showing them how important and how useful that can be.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Dr. Gonzalez, I'm sorry to interrupt. My name is Leandro Restrepo, and I have been accompanying you in the question section in YouTube. And there is something that you said that it was very tough provoking to me, and it is the next. It says, taking into account one of your conclusions in relation to the
Recording in progress.
Now, she's working as a professor in the Bachelor of Teaching English as a Foreign Language and General English program at Santo Tomás University in its distance modality. She is interested in research since she found it as an opportunity and enhance her pedagogical practice. Their conference titled to improve language skills in a course of general English at Santo Tomás University. Welcome you today to our Congress, and you can start now.
Okay, good morning for all of you. It's a pleasure to be here. So my name, as you already said, is Magda Alejandra Carbonell, and my coworker is Angela Patricia Gomez. We are so glad to be here. It's a pleasure to share with you this experience. So our discussion today is going to be about a pedagogical design in distance education to improve language skills. in a course of General English at Santo Tomas University. So firstly, to start, I'm going to give you a short contextualization of this experience to understand better this experience. So teacher Angela and I are part of the General English program at Santo Tomas University. So this program is for students who belong to the DUAT. DUAT is División de Universidad Abierta y a Distancia at Santo Tomas University. This division has two different schools, the Education School and the Science and Technology School. So all of the programs in these faculties have the English levels as a requirement for their degree. So students must take the 6 levels, the English levels, in their learning process. For this semester, we have almost 2,000 students, but that number could increase in these days. So because Inglés Transversal is part of the distance modality, we have, excuse me, okay, I don't know. Okay. We have 5 national teachers. These 5 national teachers administrate the English courses. We have many responsibilities, but some of them are, well, we design the English courses, we design the virtual rooms, the material, and we organized and established the evaluation process for the students. So we also design the exams too. And we have communications with our students during the whole semester. And as this is part of the distance modality, we have students around Colombia and even abroad. So Universidad Santo Tomas has presence in different regions around Colombia. We have 23 branches, but we call them Centros de Atención Universitaria, no branches. So I know we have students in, as you can see here, Arauca, Armenia, Barranca Bermeja, Faca, Neiva, Villavicencio, Valledupar, but also we have students abroad. So in those Centros de Atención Universitaria, we have some regional tutors. They support us in the tutoring sessions that we give to the students on Saturdays. They do not have a role in terms of designing material or something like that. They just support us in that specific function. However, we have changed a lot during these years, considering that our population has changed too. So teacher Angela is going to talk about that transformation.
Sure. In 2017, we started the design of a scope and sequence of 6 level of English, because before of 2017, students work in 3 different platforms: virtual room, students book, and workbook. And they were so confused about the way or the steps that they have to do to develop the different activities in the different platforms. Before the implementation, based on the findings, the students, or the team better, of Inglés Transversal take the decision to change the virtual room and to change the material, the scope and sequence, syllabus of different levels to improve this kind of methodology. And what is the idea? The implementation implement cognates approach to parts of speech and evaluate the writing skill according to the English level. So for this reason, we create a theoretical framework according to 3 different categories. Number 1, scaffolding learning process. Second one, material design. And the third one, distance education. So according to the scaffolding learning process, is important taking into account understanding new concepts, development of skills, focus on students and their needs. The learning process becomes a challenge. And according to the reference about material designs, is important base this kind of studies in a student context, provides cultural, social, and linguistic elements in the learning process. So according to the participation of students in the creation of different content exchange, we have the possibility to do an asynchronous feedback and involve them in their process. According to the distance education, we have different advantages. Some of them could be, it's flexible. This increases the ability to gather information of any topic and preserve it, okay, on the time. And the last one could be, it's a convenient learning, okay? We talk about it, we refer to pandemic time. Of course, it's a convenient learning because the students take classes everywhere, anytime. According to this theoretical framework and the different reference elements, look for the different materials, methodologies, etc. We have to create a new virtual room. I want to say that this creation was very important in both schools at DUAD because it was a reference of other courses in the faculties or at schools. So according to virtual room, it's divided or is organized in 6 different moments. And number 1, it's course overview. In this part, a student could review the different methodologic aspects about the course. For example, look for syllabus, look for different tips to learning in a distance education, improve and study a foreign language as an English, of course. And the last part of this first session is that they take a test to verify, to review that they did understand the methodological process in the course. The second one is academic meeting. So in this space or in this section, a student will find the different tutoring sessions and recording sessions. After that, we have module 1, 2, and 3. In this kind of modules, students will find the different interactive materials to develop during the courses, For example, different lessons, different workbooks, and different integrated skill assignments, In a moment, Alejandra explain in detail this kind of learning modules. And the last one is exam feedback. In the last session, a student have to take midterm exam and final exam, of course. And they have to do the opportunity to review, to check the different rubrics about the different, about the way to evaluate this kind of test.
Okay, so our virtual room is the main source in the teaching and learning process. As Angela already told you, in the past we had some ebooks and workbooks, but the students all the time were evaluating those sources as a no useful tool. So we try to incorporate all those comments, the students' voices, their needs, their interest in the creation of these courses. So that's why we have designed this room with clear instructions to let the students understand the process inside the program. So this structure of the virtual room and all the rules that we have in the program are from the beginning of the levels. I mean, all the different levels have the same methodology. Why? Because we need to evaluate it if the process is working or not. So as soon as we evaluate the process, we start modify some kind of strategies and implement other different resources. So this is how a virtual room looks. So I'm going to explain you a little bit better the distribution that we have and the methodology that we used inside the learning modules. We divide the semester in 3 different modules. All of them are in the same way. I mean, the students can see them in the same way. We have the same layout. So their learning modules, as you can see, we place some labels, but all of them have a clear instruction. We do not post PDF files or Word files without explaining them something, even though we do not post PDF files or Word files. We work with interactive material that was designed by the teacher, the teacher in the course. So the dynamic that we use are these ones. So there are 3 different steps. In the first step, the students have the input of the course. We call these the lessons. So the teacher designed the lessons taking into account the topics for that specific course. I'm going to show you how a lesson, excuse me, here is. So we give them the objectives of the course. Maybe you have this. Maybe you're asking why we have some instructions in Spanish. As Angela already told you, we have this scaffolding process. So in the first levels, we use Spanish in some cases to give instructions, but as soon as the students are passing through the other levels, we use more English, of course. So we use some applications like these ones. For example, this is H5P. Maybe you know this tool. In this tool, we present the explanation of the topics, giving examples, and of course with audios, because for that is very important that the students are very clear the topics. So we explain them using graphics and audios and also videos. And this tool helps us to give to present some activities while they're studying the material, and they have immediately feedback. Because this is distance modality, it's very important for them, these kind of activities, because they do not have the teacher next to them all the time. Even if we have some communication with them, we are not in the whole days next to them to explain them the different activities. So they have immediately feedback in these kind of activities. We have different of them. We use input in the 4 skills: speaking, writing, reading, and listening, even though we just evaluate writing and reading because of the number of the students. For example, these two give the opportunity to the students to check how was the performance in this explanation. We use interactive activities to present, for example, here vocabulary. We also use EducaPlay. We designed activities there if we need that tool. We also use interactive videos. So they have the opportunity to watch the video and answer some questions too. And during these lessons, they will have readings and input considering their context. So we create readings about the cultural aspects in Monteria, for example, or a video about, here I have some videos with explanations about grammar. The teacher is the person who create these kind of videos to let them understand the topics. The other step is the practice. We call them the workbook. Now the workbook is inside the module and is designed by us, the teachers. In the workbook, the students has a series of activities to practice what they learn in the lessons. Here you have an example of it. The students can develop the workbook 4 times. However, they can go back to the workbook to practice for the exam, for the midterm exam and the final exam that we have during the semester. We use the multiple choice questions. However, we use matching. Here you have these other kind of questions. I mean, the workbooks are very dynamic, even though that they are inside the module. We try to use different strategies to have different kind of activities to practice what they learned in the lesson. So as you can see here, we can insert other kind of applications inside these activities. And the third step, sorry, I'm gonna close this here. And the third step is the application. We call that, sorry, the application. And we have here an online test. This is the integrated skill assignment. Is integrated skill assignment because we integrate what the students learned in the lessons and what the students practice in the workbook. And in the integrated skill assignment, we have, oh my God, some questions that are, well, we involve the CAT type questions and Saber Pro questions, because, you know, as a requirement, we must evaluate if the students have a great performance in these exams or not. So we involve those type of questions in our online test. Here you have some examples of them. And in this part, because this is part of the evaluation process, they just have one attempt to respond that specific test. And those three modules, as I told you, have the same layout. They have the same process, because, you know, as we are in distance modality, the students must have very clear the process, and it's going to be very useful for them to know the instructions from the beginning of the program. As Angela already told you, we have the exam part in this label. We let the students know what are going to be the topics in the exams, and they take the exams in the same virtual room. However, we have incorporated some other strategies to practice speaking and listening skill, because in our courses, we have the focus just on reading and writing skills in the evaluation part. However, we have created some forums that we call challenges, in which we give the students the opportunity to practice the speaking and the listening skill without any grade. So we give them clear instructions, examples of those activities. They can post their activities in these kinds of boards. Maybe you know this tool. This tool is Padlet, so the students can post the activity in this board. They can upload files, and we can grade them with stars or likes, as you prefer. You can use this tool as you want, but we do not give them a grade, because this is not part of the evaluation process. This is just a practice that they can do in this teaching and learning process. And also for this semester, we create something that we call learning pills. So wait me a minute, I'm going to come back to the presentation to explain you this part.
As Alejandra said, this semester we implement short videos between 15 and 40 seconds, could be to introduce some language aspects, cultural facts, tips, according, for example, grammar elements, difference between in, on, at, for example, short videos that motivate students to know a language, to learn a language. Some objectives of these informative pills or capsules could be contextualize the student about English language and culture, motivate to the language learning, know the culture about speaking countries and learning and understanding the language in context, or similar to TikTok, but in an academic way, of course. And it's this kind of strategy has the attention of the students, okay, involved in the technology devices. So according, next please. Okay, now in this moment we have to share with you some evidence about during our process at the beginning, of course, at the beginning, middle, and at the moment right now, of course. This exam is of year 2015. So you can see that the grading section didn't work by students, and could be the reason of the students didn't work in the writing task or production. It's possible that don't understand or didn't understand the instruction, or other possibility is that they don't know how to create a good task about writing task. Slide by slide, you can see the advance, the improvement of the skill semester by semester according to the new strategies that we implemented all the time. Next, please. So this is a digital exam because we have different population of students, regulares, active in virtual room all the time, no regulares, they have different problems with technology, with connectivity, etc. Could be in Amazonas, could be in far regions, have different problems with technology, but the idea is that we create different elements with different strategies that all of our students present the activities, present the exams, of course.
Well, so in 2019, we were so lucky because we started with the implementation of this tool called Small. Small is a program, is a software that we can have in the Moodle room to monitor the exam. So as you can see, in the past, we have to grade the whole exams for all the students. And as you know, and as we already told you, we have many students in our courses. More or less, we can have 500 students, 600 students. So with this tool, we have the possibility to grade just the production part, because in the virtual room, we have the possibility to, well, the system help us to check the other part of the exam, but the production is evaluated by the teacher, is graded by the teachers. So with this small tool, we can have a report about different the performance that the students have in the exams, in the midterm exam and the final exam too. So we can know if the student is with another person presenting the exam, or if they have a website open, and how long they spend in those kind of websites, if the student is presenting the exam and not another person. That's why students must have a camera for the exam. However, as Angela already told you, we have a varied population. So we have some cases in which the students do not have a camera, so they have the opportunity to go to the Centro de Atención Universitaria and present the exam there. So this tool helped us a lot here in the pandemic era, because you know, we have this possibility to evaluate the students better. So through the years, we have evaluated the number of the students that have failed in English courses to establish strategies to implement in our courses to improve the students' English level, and also our pedagogical interventions during these years. So here in this graphic, you can see the percentage has decreased during these years. So for example, in level 1, as you can see here in 2019, in the second semester, we have that the 31% of the students failed in this English course. However, through the years, that factor has decreased a lot. And for example, in 2020, in the first semester, just the 17% of the students fail. It happens the same in the level 2, level 3, and level 4. However, we do not have yet the statistics for level 5 and level 6, but you can see here that progress that we have had after the implementation of this methodology and this new structure. Also, as Angela already told you, the implementation that we did inside the program was very satisfactory for the faculties. So they started to implement the same structure of the virtual room in the other subjects in the different faculties, in the science and technology faculty and the school faculty. So as a conclusion and to finish this presentation, we want to share with you that in this modality, in the distance education, it was very important to consider the context of the students, to listen their voice, to incorporate their context while designing the material, because those contents must be coherent and understandable to generate meaningful learning environments, in this case, our virtual room. Also, this implementation of a contextualized methodology was fundamental and is fundamental too in the distance learning, because it helped the students to achieve the objectives of the course, and also to consider this context, we can incorporate the innovation in our virtual rooms. This has been an essential transformation in our program. It's not easy because we have to design the material. So we took like 2 years designing that material and designing those virtual rooms. However, semester by semester, we are incorporating more material. We are creating more readings, productions, tasks for their students, because, well, our population changed through these years, has changed through these years. So it's very important to implement other kind of activities, but we are doing this with our group. So these are our reference. And now you have time to ask any question or give us any comment. Thank you very much.
We have in the chat, on the chat, a comment of teacher Emmanuel. He has a project going around to the country where I have free session of English conversation based on the theme of interest, and would like to share with your students. Of course, thank you, teacher. Sure, the idea is that we collaborate, we do a network between institutions, of course. Thank you so much.
Eduardo says excellent design in Moodle. I started using the form with video. They must participate answering the form with video offer in tools. Congratulations. Thank you, Eduardo. Well, I have the possibility to watch your presentation, and yeah, you have some kind of tools to work on that. There are a lot of applications that we can use in the virtual rooms. Also, we need to consider our population, because we have a lot of students that are such a great tools to work with the students, but we need to consider how to give them the feedback. That's why we are using these applications, but your suggestion is great. Thank you.
Okay, we will write our emails if you are interested in, could be create a project or a program to take into account the different context and the different students around Colombia or around the world to distance education, of course. Give me a moment, please.
Don't worry, I already sent you mine. And I don't know if you have any other comment or questions. Well, I think we finished.
Okay, so thank you very much for you too for this presentation.
Thanks.
Yes, it's been really nice, and also the organization in Moodle was really interesting to see, because some of us, it's our like talking by myself, it's been our first time working in this platform, but it's really nice like to have ideas about how to use it. So thank you very much. So we already answered all the questions, and now let's see what the program says. Thank you very much, teachers, and we hope you enjoy these too. Now we have our breaking room that is led by Justin Mark Ward. He's from Vancouver, and he works at the Universidad Compensar. So thank you very much for your help, Justin. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
So
Nice to meet all you as well.
thank you very much. So let's see what you have for us today.
Okay. Guess I will share my screen here. Okay, can most people see my screen and hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can see your screen.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, as she said, my name is Justin Wong. I'm from Vancouver, Canada. Yeah, I just came to Bogota probably about almost 4 months ago and enjoying it here at UCAM Pensar. The weather is a little bit similar to my city, so that's the only one disappointing part. It's kind of cold. In fact, the weather here is pretty much exactly like in October in Vancouver, except I imagine it's all year round in Bogota. It's basically the month of October for me. But yeah, I guess I'm going to start by talking a little bit about my country. And then after I'll have Kahoot, just 9 questions about what I just kind of said. And I'll start. So Canada, what most people don't really understand, well, some people do, is Canada is very, very multicultural. It's a country with almost all immigrants. For example, in Vancouver, pretty close to 60 to 70% of the population is at most second generation. So people from China, people from Korea, the Philippines, India, I mean, you name it, whatever country, that's what it is. I mean, pretty close to 40, I think about last year, they calculated that 44% of Vancouver is actually Chinese descendant, and about 15 to 20% is from Indian descendant. So that makes up a pretty big part of Vancouver's population. Another thing that people assume about Canada is the weather. So yes, Canada is a lot colder than Colombia, especially if you get away from Bogota. But we have 4 seasons: fall, winter, spring, and summer. So we have 2 extremes, put it that way. So in the summer, you can get very, very hot, actually, much hotter than Bogota, up to, I mean, well, especially this year, we had record breaking temperatures, especially in my province of British Columbia. We had 50 degrees, believe it or not. So I'm not even sure if any city in Colombia gets to 50 degrees. Yeah, does anybody know if it gets past 50 degrees in
Well, Justin, I know the Atlantic coast very well, and there the most typical temperature, or let's say sensation, body sensation, is reaches up about almost 45 degrees, the maximum. But come on, it's really, really hot. I can't barely imagine a temperature reaching more than 45 degrees.
Yeah. Luckily, I wasn't. I was in Bogota at this time. Yeah, it killed actually 250 people, died of heat stroke because there's no air conditioners, especially in British Columbia. I mean, in Ontario, sometimes people will have air conditioning because in the summer, the average temperature is about 35 degrees. But in British Columbia, the average summer temperature is probably closer to 25 degrees. So it was double. So this was a very, very strange phenomenon. So yes, it does. It's not always cold in Canada, but probably an average temperature, winter temperature, and all across Canada is about -15 to -20. So definitely very cold as well. A lot of people ask about the languages in Canada. We have 2 official languages. That's French and Canadian. There's actually only 1 province that actually speaks French. That's Quebec. And this is where the French speakers are. That's over in the eastern part of Canada. Canada's, I don't know if a lot of people know that it's very known for us loving the sport of hockey. It's definitely the most popular sport in Canada, but it is not actually the official sport. It's actually lacrosse, which was invented by the Indigenous, and that's why it's our official sport. It is fairly popular, but hockey is definitely far more popular. And most people in Canada assume that hockey is our national sport, but this is actually not true. Yeah, so another presumption is we have our national animal. A lot of Americans think it's the Canadian goose, but again, that's not true. It's actually the beaver. I'm not sure if anyone knows what that animal is. Does anybody know what the beaver is, or have seen it on say a documentary or anything like that?
No, I haven't seen it, or probably yes, but well, I'm really bad at names, so.
Yeah, it's a small animal. It's very rare because it was heavily hunted, especially during what we call the fur trade. This is when a lot of British and French people came to Canada, and they came here to hunt the beaver because it has a very beautiful pelt and fur. But now it's a protected animal. Definitely very, very illegal to hunt. But it basically it's an animal that cuts down trees and is known for making basically dams and blocking up rivers. Another interesting thing about Canada is we actually have, for about the politics of Canada, we have 5 major political groups. One called the NDP, one the Conservative Party, the Liberal Party, and then there's a French party called the Bloc Québécois. And this is obviously what most of the French people vote for because, it basically gives people basically some speech or some talk about for the rights of the French language in Canada. And then we have the Green Party, which is the environmental party, which is surprisingly a lot of people actually vote for. It's not just a waste of a vote. People actually really care about the environment in Canada, so this party actually does get a lot of representation. So yeah, that's 5 major parties. So as I mentioned, that Canada is a country that is built off of immigration and immigrants. So one of the original true Canadians are, of course, the Indigenous, who lived there for many thousands of years, much long before the French and long before the British came to occupy Canada. So kind of like the Aztecs or the Incas, or Mayans, there was a very major Indigenous group called the Cree, who basically were there long before anyone else and occupied most of Canada. Again, that's the Cree. So a lot of people think of Canada as this kind of like this perfect country where, people are very friendly and having a country that has no negative past, which is definitely not true. I mean, we didn't have slavery like the United States or anything like that, but Canada had some dark pasts especially with the Indigenous. There's been they were treated very poorly for many hundreds of years throughout Canada. Up until about 1994, Indigenous were forced into schools called residential schools, where they were forced to forget about their language, forget about their culture. And basically the school was called To Take the Savage Out of the Indian. So again, they were forced to these schools where the conditions were very horrible. In my province, in May of this year, there was over 1,000 bodies of children discovered in a couple of graves. So it was definitely a dark time for Canada, especially this year, because of these. I can't remember the exact number, but it was over 1,000 bodies of children. Some good things about Canada is we are known for having a great healthcare system. So we have social healthcare. So when I go to a doctor, or if I have to get a surgery, which I've had 3 now, actually, I don't have to pay. We pay for it in our taxes, and our medications are very cheap. Again, if you have any type of medical issue, it's definitely covered. So it's definitely something to be grateful, for me to be grateful about living in that country. Yes, any questions about Canada so far? So I'm just realizing I'm at 7 minutes, so I'm almost halfway. Any questions about Canada so far?
I am checking out the YouTube chat to see if we have any question, but it seems that we don't. So I don't know.
Okay, so yeah, I guess I only have 7 minutes left, so I think we have to start my Kahoot time now. So I'm not sure where to chat this. Oh, I have 10 minutes left. Well, the Kahoot takes around 8 minutes, I think, to 8. Yeah, so Roger just told me I had 10 minutes. I think that's the exact amount of time that you guys will need. I'm not exactly, I guess you can see my screen here, but I'm not exactly sure how to do this, but I do have the number here. I could say it aloud. I'm not sure how to type it in the chat here either, because show grid, I'm not sure how this works. Hide thumbnail. Okay, should I just say the number out loud for people? Oh, there's a chat. Sorry, I'm still using it. Okay. Okay, I'm going to type the number into the chat. 09557711. Okay, I just shared the number of the Kahoot pin, of the game pin. Does everyone have that? And then just let me know when you guys are starting the test.
Did you share it by the YouTube chat? Yeah, right.
The YouTube chat. Okay, how do I do that? Sorry.
No, I'm just asking you because I haven't seen. Don't worry.
You can share it, Justin. You can share it here through the chat option, and I can share it through the chat in YouTube.
Okay, I shared it through the chat already.
Yeah, we have it. We have it here in the Zoom chat. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, this is my first time ever doing a Kahoot, so.
Do not worry. Do not worry.
And then I have 2 tests there. It's the Kahoot for informative. There's also in one of the questions, there'll be a 1 minute and 50-second video that you'll have to watch. Is anybody into the quiz yet?
Yes, I mean, I'm already.
You're doing it?
playing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, cool. Let's see if I can answer my own questions. Uh-oh, what's going on here?
Yes, Justin, something is going on here, and in the next question too. I don't know what is. I couldn't do it.
This is not how it looked when I did my what is going on? Okay, this is not correct. I didn't do that. Only the first question appeared. Oh my gosh. Okay. Maybe I can ask you the questions orally. 1 second. I only have, how much time do I have here? It's very strange. Okay. Wait, what does this mean? Log in. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, I can, Justin.
So I don't understand. As you can see, I have all the questions here. But why didn't it show up in the test? Because as you can see here, it's all normal. Do you want me to just do the test orally?
Yes, yes, that would be great if you just.
I don't understand why that happened. I wish I knew. So the second question is, okay, well, you can see my answers, unfortunately. How do I escape this? Let's just go to here. So we'll hide. So everyone saw the first question that was correct. Yeah. So the second question is, what is Canada's national sport? What is Canada's national sport?
The beaver.
That's Canada's national animal.
Are there any options, Justin?
Yeah, I'll give you the options here. So option A, basketball. Option 2, curling. Option 3, hockey.
Justin, sorry that I interrupt you, but like they told me that because of time, we have to get moving to the other presentation.
Sure.
So,
okay.
Yes, I'm sorry, and I know
no problem
that is
at
not.
all.
Yeah.
Just for my last minute, does anyone know what happened?
No, I don't. I haven't. I use quizzes, but not Kahoot. Probably something.
I mean, as you can see, I know I have only 1 minute, but all my questions are all here.
Yeah.
But why would it? I don't understand.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. I don't know how to fix that, though. That's a problem for next time.
Yeah, but at least you knew, so last time it won't happen again. So it's fine. Do not worry about that.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for all the information that you gave us about Canada. It was really interesting, and we know that you have something prepared for us. So do not worry. Really, that kind of things happen here online, so it's fine.
Yeah, I guess I just don't know how to fix it, but okay, weird.
Okay, okay. So let's welcome Emmanuel Hudson. Hello.
Hello, good morning. I hope everyone is enjoying this meeting that we are having to share our knowledge and experiences with regards to teaching English and how we can better each other in this process. So my name is Emmanuel Hudson. I'm from Ghana, West Africa. I'm an English teacher here in Villavicencio at UNAR, Autónoma University. So today I'm gonna be your moderator for this session, and I'm gonna introduce these two people who are gonna do us the favor and share their experiences with regards to virtual learning scenarios as a strategy to English for specific purposes in upper education. So the first person I would like to call upon is Mr. William Fernando Fernandez. So I'm gonna tell us a bit about him. He's a full-time professor of French language in Cali. Call, I don't know whether it's Cali or Call, and literature and English seminars at Universidad Surcolombiana. Sorry if I don't pronounce the name well. He's also a professor. Fernandez holds a master's degree in foreign language teaching and ICT university from the University of Lumiere, Lyon, the second. And also he holds a specialization in language and cultures from the English speaking countries of the same university. And finally, a bachelor in modern languages, that is English and French from Universidad de Cauca. He has published several books in the field of FLT and technology, and his research interests include the infusion of technology in education, the professional development and machine interactions. So precisely that's a bit about Mr. William Fernando Fernandez. The second person that will do us the honors is Natalia Polania Rajo from Naval Universidad Surcolombiana. Natalia is a student, a 7th semester student studying Bachelor of Arts in English teaching. She is also a member of the Incubator Research Group, TIC-ETAC at English for specific purposes in upper education and the infusion of technology in educational settings. She has worked with children from the ages of 2 to 5 in the kindergarten cycle. So without much ado, I would like to call upon Mr. William Fernando Fernandez to do us the honors and carry on with the rest of the presentation. Thank you.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I want to excuse Professor William Fernando Fernandez since he is in another conference, so he couldn't be here at time. But he is going to be here in a couple of minutes. But I would like to lead the presentation, so I'm going to share my screen.
Great.
Okay. So good morning, teachers and the audience. First, my name is Natalia Polania Rayo. I am one of the 8 members of the Incubator Research Group TIC-ETAC. that is at the same time part of the research group APRENAP of Universidad Surcolombiana. And with Professor William Fernando Fernandez, we carry on this project called Virtual Learning Scenarios as a strategy to develop English for specific purposes in upper education. So this is saying that I first want to give little context and I resume an abstract of what our project is about. Then I proceed to mention our main objective and specific objectives. Then the methodology we use and the stages of this project, the instruments that we used, the products, the results, and finally the conclusions. So first, I want to contextualize the situation of Colombia, and it is that we have, in general terms, a low level of English. We could see that in Prueba Saber 11, our students don't reach the level expected, that is B1, but they reach A1 level, which is a very low for them. And we also see that English, it's important to our jobs, for traveling, for study. So we want to guarantee a student to have good strategies for learning English. For that reason, our projects focus on the implementation of virtual learning scenarios, understood as spaces where we could find a lot of resources that help students to learn English. But we also want to implement ESP, that are English for specific purposes. So we create contents of the field of study of each career, each program, and we want to teach them or provide them the tools to learn English with their letting them know their contents of their specific field of study. So we implement those BLS from 4 undergraduate programs at Universidad Surcolombiana that are nursing, software engineering, journalism and mass media, and bachelor's degree in natural sciences. So our main objective is to implement those virtual learning scenarios with students for the 4 faculties of Universidad Surcolombiana, that are education, engineering, health, and human and social sciences, incorporating the English for specific purposes in the institutional English courses in Universidad Surcolombiana. So we want to design, we designed the virtual learning scenarios, and we wanted to implement in the courses of Universidad Surcolombiana, of the English courses in Universidad Surcolombiana, for provide English learning. Our specific objectives first is to design the virtual learning scenario, taking into account the students' needs of our university. Also, the second specific objective is to test the English learning strategy with the VLS among the students. Then evaluate their perception regarding the virtual learning scenarios, and finally establish the success or failure of the VLS. We establish that based on the students' perception, if they like, if the VLS work or not. So we collect all the data to decide if the VLS was successful or not. In our methodology, we use a mixed method since we use qualitative and quantitative data. We wanted to listen also to know the perspective, comments, or suggestions that student has regarding the VLS and how many of them approve them or how many of them grade them as a good strategy. We use an interpretative approach, and the data collected was through an entry and clinical service. So the entry survey was implemented before designing the VLS to know what students expected of those scenarios so that we could take that information and based on that create our VLS. And the clinical test survey was to know how students or teachers see that VLS, if what their suggestion were or what they think, their comments. So we collect all the data and we triangulate it in the program Atlas D. So we find very useful this tool since we could collect the most important information and generate a conceptual map so that we could see all the perspective that they had in a general view. The stages and instruments. Well, this project was developed in 6 moments. The first one was drafting and diagnose. As I said before, we implement the entry survey for students and for teachers to know what they expected, what level of English they had, or what proposal have also the teachers for designing the VLS. So we take into account those data to then design the VLS. The second stage was the first pilot of VLS and testing. So we give them to students some time to them complete the task activities that were included in the VLS, and then collect all what they did and all their perspective through the clinical testing survey. So they can make any comments, they could rate the VLS in terms of functionality, readability, and more. So we implement that after they make use of the VLS. The first stage was the second pilot of the VLS. So we, taking into account their suggestion and comments, we modified the VLS. We add certain things, and we again send them a new product, a new VLS. Then Professor William Fernando Fernandez was in charge to design a web page where the 4 VLS were included, so that student could have easy access to all the VLS. And then we collect the data, we triangulate the data in Atlas D, and we include logbooks. In these logbooks, we could incorporate all the how was structured the VLS, what technological resources we use, what do we use those resources. So there we can find a lot of information of the VLS, the purposes, the activities, and the task. Here we have some results of the entry survey for students. And we could see that in the first chart, what motivates a student most is their study. In the second chart, we could see that Okay, in the second chart, we could see that the courses focus more on a general English learning, and few of them do not think that the English learning was focused on the context of their career. In the first chart, we could see that what the skill that students consider easiest is reading, and contrary, we have that the most difficult for them, the most difficult skill for them was speaking, which we took into account to also incorporate more content in the VLS to reinforce that skill. Here we could see the platforms that students use in their institutional English courses. So many of them use Google Classroom and other devices. And we could see that what they expected of an English learning platform was contents of interest, and easily accessibility for people with disabilities, diversity of images, audio, text, and video, and innovative learning activities, which we also take into account that to develop our activities and tasks. Here we could see that students also prefer to work with guide texts and digital platforms. Here we ask them what subjects or areas they wanted to know or learn in English. So in the first chart, we have that digital journalism was the most voted subject. And we also took into account that to develop the virtual learning scenarios according to that subject. In natural science, we could see that the most voted was biology. Here we have the software engineering answer. So they prefer to learn that database. And in nursing, the most voted was morphology. So all this content they wanted to learn in English, we incorporated in the VLS. This is the results of the entry survey for teachers. So in the first chart, we could see that most of them manifested that they do include related materials to the student's career and incorporated in their English classes, while 30% of them manifest that they only focus on more general English for communicative purposes. So we could corroborate that information in the second chart, with most of them said that their English courses focus more on training for the academic and university context in general. Here we have the products that are the VLS devices. As I said, professors designed this webpage, so all the VLS were included on it. And we also did the logbooks. Here we have the clinical survey results that we implement for students. In the first chart, we make them rate the functionality of the VLS. So functionality in terms of if the VLS links or resources work correctly. So the number one, we said them that means very bad functionality, and 5 very excellent functionality. So we could see that most of them voted with rate the VLS with 5. in terms of functionality, which is pretty good. In the second chart, we could see that they grade the interactivity of the VLS with number 4. So it's pretty good too. This interactivity makes, well, they refer to all the with other students, with the computer, if the VLS contains images, videos, and all that kind of interaction. Here we can see the readability of the VLS. This in terms of that the VLS has a clear instructions that were easy to understand, and we could see that many of them vote with number 5. And in the perception about the VLS, we could see that students consider the VLS as newfangled and engaging. Finally, we asked them about the level of the VLS, and most of them respond that they were appropriate and with easy comprehension. Here we could see some comments. And the first one is the content focus on the program subject as interesting. This regarding the ESP we implement, so we could see that many students like the idea of English for specific purposes. The second comment is the methodology is adequate, it is complicated, and there are time constraints. As I said, well, the students didn't have much time because they were ending the semester, and we couldn't count with more time. So we give them a very short time for completing all the tasks, and it was a constraint. It should be more dynamic. All activities should be graded by teacher, and it is extensive. Here we could see the clinical survey for teachers, and the first one, we could see some comments. Very short time to do more deeper analysis. It is complete. The digital resources are interesting but extensive. And on the other chart, we could see that 44 of them didn't answer, and 44 of them also said that it was a complementary strategy, innovative and attractive. Here is the semantic map we generate in Atlas D. So I want to show you. Give me a second. So can you see the map right now? I hope so. But here we have the map we did in Atlas D. In the diagnostic result, this is regarding the entry survey we implement with students. We could see that some suggestions from there were that the courses should implement different materials and new teaching strategies. Regarding the students and teachers' needs, we could see that in a face-to-face teaching, they need English textbook update, English communication, teacher feedback, more authentic materials, more communicative activities. And regarding the remote teaching, their needs were connectivity, website creation, digital resources, and digital platforms. So this is the information we took from the data in the entry survey for teachers and students. So we took into account all of this to create the VLS. We could see also that the motivation has to do with the students' learning style, the autonomous learning, and the improvement of English skills. And also that they need English for specific purposes. Regarding the clinical survey, we could see that their experiences was that their VLS was accessible, functionable. They took into account the participant needs, that was simple, has a clear structure, that was interesting, and come with that appropriate English level. Also, we could see that the ECS skill was reading, while their most difficult skill was speaking, which also we took into account to develop on the VLS. So the conclusions. Okay.
Hello, Natalia.
Hi, Professor.
Can you listen to me?
Yes.
Hello, Natalia. I'm just want to introduce the conclusions of the study, please.
Okay. Yes, Professor.
Okay, so as we see, Natalia introduced all the elements in the development of the virtual learning environments. Well, the conclusions are preliminary, actually, because Natalia is part of one of the incubator research groups in the university, in which, sorry, I'm going to activate my camera, in which we designed the first prototypes for the programs she already mentioned, but we continue developing and improving the VLS for the other programs. Our university counts more or less on 27 undergraduate program studies, and we have at least 30 master programs, so we are working on that. So in this particular study, both teachers and students perceive the VLS as innovative resources to trigger motivation. So something that is important in the teaching of English mediated by technology is motivation. And in this case, they were extrinsically motivated to see that we innovate beyond the textbooks. So the textbook is okay because we have resources with the textbooks. Actually, several publishing houses produces not only the books, but also different digital resources, but it's very difficult to find English for specific purposes materials that will somehow fulfill the necessities of the students in our university. So both teachers and students love that part. As I said, very good strategies to incorporate ESP contents, and the devices took into account the students' needs and preferences to access more suitable materials for them in remote teaching. So in the first study, in the first entry survey, the students said, I like to learn these particular areas in my study plan in English, and then actually did it. And several teachers consider the VLS complex and unfitted for the students' English level. Well, some other students consider that the strategy is good, but still some of the contents were not really suitable for the proficiency level of English they had in the courses. Why is that? Because in the university, we have, well, the institutional English courses are sometimes aligned for specific faculties or schools in the university, but in some other cases, we have students from different programs in one single classroom, and sometimes we have students from medicine who normally have a good proficiency level, but we have students from other programs, especially in the education faculty, which are not very comfortable with the learning and teaching of English. But still, it works. So thank you very much for your attendance to this particular presentation. If you have questions, please feel free to do it, either me or Ms. Natalia Polania will answer.
All right, so in the meantime, we would like to know if any of you might have some questions or doubts. Our guests are ready to clear any of that. So we'll give the floor to people who have questions and doubts.
Hello, morning, Teacher Hudson, Master William Fernando, and student Natalia. It's very nice to be here attending to this, let's say, awesome event, and your presentation was outstanding. My name is Leandro Restrepo, and I am in the presentation as well as my partner, Lucy Maver, in representation of the Institution Marco Antonio Franco Rodríguez. And well, in my case, I found particularly interesting this aspect of motivating students in these virtual learning environments, because come on, it's absolutely implicit in our praxis nowadays as foreign language teachers. And well, I saw that Natalia as a student was a wonderful presenter. She was in absolute control of the items and the aspects that were going to be developed throughout their presentation. But my point is here, and I would like to know, how did you deal with the, let's say, with the measurement of the qualitative aspects? Because in other words, your study implicitly, let's say, that had the qualitative implications at the end as a result. So I would like to know, how did you measure, how did you control in an experimental way, let's say, your qualitative, let's say, findings, please?
Okay, I'll try to explain that. Well, as this is the research study produced by in our university by the incubator research group, we have an approach in which we are only showing our students the generalities of qualitative and quantitative approaches. So basically what we did here was to take a sample group of, well, we have like 40 teachers, but for this study only participated 24 students in the first entry survey, and more or less more than 100 students. So we only sent the necessary surveys to the students, and we analyzed the data using Excel. We created the graphs. We did not use any particular advanced software such as SPSS or any other one. And for the qualitative study, I introduced them, the basic elements of Atlas T. So what we did with Atlas T was triangulate the different primary sources that we have, the articles we read for the paper, for the literature review, the results obtained with the entry surveys for teachers and students, plus the clinical trials for students and teachers. We were unable to implement, because of these strike issues that we experienced in the university, we were unable to apply the exit surveys. But basically we use Excel. They quantify the information. They manually, using the approach by Benaquisto and Denzin, created categories to do the analysis of the commentaries that the students and teacher provided in those surveys. And we analyzed those aspects. And finally, we just fit Atlas T with the commentaries from the teachers, from the papers,